Back in the day, I used to sell a program called 52 in 2. This was really fun. I would help founders film 52 videos in 2 days, and that was a lot back then. Now, you learn pretty quickly that successful people don't have endless time to sit around trying to be creative. The whole system had to be simple or it completely broke down, and that's where this rule came from. The rule for this entire video is this: do only what only you can do. And when someone's time is valuable, the content process cannot depend on inspiration or perfect conditions or endless tinkering. It's got to be simple, it's got to be repeatable, and it has to work when you are busy. It's not about making time or setting aside time to think about it. It has to work in all conditions. And that standard matters now more than ever before, because coaches are not just making content every once in a while. They're making it regularly every single day, every single week, because their business really does depend on it. So there's been a few content problems over the years. So the first problem was that I don't know what to say. And for a long time, this was the big one. Most coaches, they're not trained script writers, right? They're not trained content strategists. They're not naturally good at standing in front of a camera and turning their thoughts into clean, concise, compelling videos. They had ideas, but the ideas were messy. They had expertise, but they didn't know how to package it for video and social media. But then AI came along, and AI made it much easier to get a usable script quickly. It could give you hooks, outlines, talking points, captions, and full scripts faster than most people could even just get one paragraph out. So that solved problem number one, but then it created the next problem. Now I'm gonna use a very technical scientific word, sameness. So once everyone, including coaches, started using AI to write their content, the internet got flooded with super clean, super structured, and like extremely forgettable average advice. Everyone had hooks. Everyone had their lists, everyone had frameworks, and every single script had the 3 mistakes that you're making post. So here's the thing, the more polished everybody's content became because AI was so good at making it sound perfect, the less personal it started to feel, and that's what caused the problem of everybody sounding samey. You are saying words of wisdom that could have come out of Gandhi's mouth or Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, but it's meaningless because everybody is saying something really similar. So your content got super clear, but completely forgettable. So rule number one, which I covered in the last video, go click the link to find that one if you haven't watched it yet. It's say only what only you can say. And I covered this in the previous video, and I use a specific strategy called the 3, that's not a C, that's the wrong way. Guys, I messed up here. Editor, you can leave this in if you want. This is to prove this is not AI. So this is what I covered in my previous video. I use a strategy called the 3 C's. So the 3 C's are gonna help you pull real stories, real beliefs, your personal perspective from 3 things that nobody could take from you. So here's the cliff notes on the 3 C's, but you should definitely watch the whole video. The 3 C's are this. Number 1, cash. What do you actually spend money on? Every single transaction in your Venmo, in your credit card statement is a story that only you can share. Number 2 is contacts. Look through Facebook, look through your address book. Every single person in there is somebody you had contact with, and it's a personal story that only you can tell. Third one is calendar. Appointments, past, present, future. Every single one of those appointments are a personal story, and your content has to be based on that. Just like I opened this video with 52 in 2. That's my personal story. Nobody else can say that unless they're lying, because the program that I invented, I sold, I ran for years, and that helped me to learn a lot of the lessons that I'm sharing with you today. So we got the message problem solved, but then there is another problem. You can know exactly what to say and still not get the video actually made. And this is the problem we're gonna solve today in this video, because even if you know what to say, even if you have the script, even if you have the story, even if the message is actually good, there's still a giant gap between knowing what to say and actually getting it recorded, edited, posted, and out into the world. So here's problem number 3. You know what to say, you've got AI to help you script it, you got the 3 C's to help you tell a unique message, but actually producing video is a lot. And this is where most coaches are getting stuck right now. It's not because they're lazy, it's not because they don't know how to manage a team, but maybe it's because they shouldn't be managing a team. And I'm gonna walk you through the process on how to get over this hump today. So here's what's going on. Say you're a coach over here and you know what to say, you know how to say it, you know how to get it across, and over here you have your videos uploaded and posted on social media. For a lot of coaches, the reason they don't make this gap is because they don't actually know what is inside of it. So let's break down what's actually in here. Over here, you know what and how, but for some reason it's not translating to a published video. So this right in the middle is what we're gonna call the production gap. So let's talk for a minute about what's inside the production gap. And you've probably experienced a lot of these things, but I'm just gonna fill in the blanks for you. So first of all, what actual gear do you need? Maybe it's just your phone, maybe it's something else. How do you actually frame your shots? Framing your shots is really important. A lot of people get it wrong and it makes the video suck. How about actually recording the video? What's the process to get in the actual thing like what I'm doing right now? What about your lines? How are you gonna remember your lines? Are you gonna use a teleprompter? Are you gonna memorize? Are you gonna read off a piece of paper? How about the editing? Do you know how to edit? Do you have an editor? Are you hiring an editor? Are you gonna have AI editor for you? How about all the captions for social media? And the formatting. Formatting is super important. You need to know how to format everything. Scheduling. Are you gonna use scheduling or are you gonna actually post them one by one with your phone? Now, here's something else that people really hate. It's called revisions. Revisions is when you're just like, you hand it off to your editor, you get it back and you're just like, this is not what I had in mind. And you try to explain to them, it goes back and forth. You get into this vicious cycle called revision hell. And as a coach and as an agency owner, I deal with both sides of revision hell and it is not fun on either side. So you wanna get this solved. And right now, this gap here, everything inside of here is where coaches like this smiley person go in here and they die. Their content dies, it disappears. Even though they solve the message problem, even though they solve the problem of what to say and how to say it, but the actual production process, this here, pulls them into work that does not require their expertise. And before they know it, the coach becomes the strategist, the writer, the camera operator, the editor, the caption person, the scheduler, the file manager, the revision chaser, and the unpaid intern in their own company. And this is a major trap. I'm gonna step out of character for a minute because I have a confession to make. I was the person in this trap. I have this ability to figure out a lot of things really well, but then that also puts me in the trap of being the person actually doing the thing. And when I started this business, I had a camera, one camera, I had one tripod, I had a light, and I had a microphone. That was it. That's all I needed to get started. And I would travel around and shooting video. And I had to learn to edit. I had to learn to manage social media. I had to learn to shoot. I had to learn to direct. I had to learn all this stuff, file management, revisions. And because of that, when I started hiring people, I'm the one who would train people to do all those things. And I'm the one who was doing every single one of these things. But when I started being the one in front of the camera, I wasn't letting go of the things that I knew I needed to let go of because in my mind, I could do it better. And in my mind, the person I trained was only about, at best, 80% as good as I could do it. So this transition was not easy for me. And that's why I understand why it's so easy to fall into the trap. And it's even tougher if you're a coach who hasn't actually gone through and learned all this stuff because each of these things seems like a small task, right? The gear, that's easy, right? By the way, I don't even set up my camera gear anymore. I have somebody else do that for me. The actual framing of the shot sounds easy. The recording, the lines, the file management, the uploading, the downloading, the editing, each one sounds like a small task, but you don't realize how big of a monster and a time suck it gets when you add them all together in this big fluffy category called production. So that's my side note. Back to the show. The issue here is not that you need more time for content. The issue is that you're spending too much time on the wrong parts of the content. Your highest value contribution is not exporting files. It's not adjusting captions, one space and one word at a time. It's not figuring out whether your video should be H.264 or 9:16 or 4K or 2.5K or whatever. Your highest value contribution is gonna be your thinking. It's gonna be your story. It's gonna be your voice and your judgment. Let's step back for a second. When it comes to AI is super intelligent, but it's got zero wisdom. So remember that. Don't let it decide what you're gonna say. So the next rule that you have to remember is do only what only you can do. I'm going to underline this. Do only what only you can do. And this is gonna be the ideating, taking the time to actually use your wisdom to figure out what you should be shooting, not what you can shoot, not what you can script, but actually getting in front of the camera, looking down the barrel of the lens. I call it black circle confidence because that little black circle of the lens is the one thing in the world that matters when you're shooting content. So I'm going to show you the workflow based on the 6 principles, the 6 things that only you can do. And once you understand this, then you're never gonna forget it. All right, before I get into the 6 things here that are gonna help you as a coach to focus on doing only what only you can do, I wanna give you a gift. And this gift is my gear list. What's the actual equipment I use? Everything that I'm using right now in this production, whether it's gonna be the overhead camera, the teleprompter, or a super streamlined system where it's just my phone, my favorite wireless mic, and my favorite tripod, which is sitting right over there. And I want you to grab that so you can use the same gear, because I'll tell you what, I've got a closet full of crap that I never use. And the reason I do is because I buy so much stuff, I test it all, and then I keep the one that I really like. So anyhow, grab that link and then let's continue. So the gear is not about buying more stuff. The list that I'm giving you is about removing friction. The right gear should help you to record faster. The wrong gear turns content creation into another hobby, another project, another excuse for doing more research about that microphone to make sure you get the very best one instead of actually recording and posting. So grab the gear list if you haven't yet, if you want the simple streamlined setup, and then come back here because the gear is just one of these things. I'm gonna put gear right here on the top as the first problem we need to solve, because I know everybody likes a shopping list, so go ahead and grab that. Today we're solving the production gap, the gap between I know what to say and the video is recorded and posted. And the way we solve this is by separating expert work from intern work. Your job is to think, to teach, to record, and to approve. Everything else needs to be simplified, systematized, delegated, automated, or deleted. So we've already covered point number 1 here, and point number 2 is actually something that's basic, but it's gonna be a game changer in how you actually produce your content. This is called the Chiefs format. Now, Chiefs is how you actually frame your video. I want you to watch something. Chiefs is a 6-point framework on how to frame your videos. A lot of people get this wrong, so I'm gonna teach you how to do this correctly. First, C is for chin. You want the chin to be exactly in the center of the frame. There should be the exact same amount of space from my chin to the top of the frame and my chin to the bottom of the frame. That means center. H stands for hand and head. What you want to do is make sure there's at least 1 hand's breadth between the top of your head and the top of the frame. If it's any closer, what's going to happen is, you know that slot on the top of cameras? That's going to go right on your forehead. It's not going to look good. I stands for eye level. My eyes are technically right now the exact same height as the camera that I'm looking at. Here's the thing. If you're looking down on people, then people are going to feel like they're being looked down on. If you're looking up at people, people are going to feel like you're a child because they're looking down at you. You want to be at exactly eye level. So get the camera at eye level. So when we get to E, E stands for elbow. Elbow means the camera needs to be far enough back that both your elbows are in the frame. A lot of people are way too close up. They make it feel like a Zoom meeting, and people don't want to be on a Zoom call. They want to actually see you expressing with your hands. So back the hell up, get your elbows in the frame, and that's going to help your videos to actually be able to breathe and for you to be able to talk like an Italian with your hands. F stands for face. Your face should be equidistant, left and right. Be exactly in the middle. What happens, especially with modern cameras that are really wide, and they do a great job of getting the scenery in there, is if your face goes all the way to the edge, you start looking like a mango face. It gets all distorted, and that's ugly. The last one is S for shaka hands. What does shaka hands mean? Well, it's been scientifically proven that the distance between your thumb and the pinky is the ideal distance between your lips and your microphone. So if your microphone is this far, that is ideal. Look, my microphone is right here. That's about the distance. If it's any further, the sound starts getting bad. Listen to this. This is the distance that we want to be. And as it gets further away, listen to the quality of the sound. So some people want the mic far away. What you want to be is this close and no further away. So that's the Chiefs framework. Let's move on to the next thing. I'm going to go pretty fast. Hope you can keep up. Next, we're going to go to solution number 3. Now, solution number 3 solves the problem of not being able to remember your lines or not wanting to use a teleprompter, which is a real downer when you're trying to, be on the go with your phone. So this is called the Goldfish method. What's the Goldfish method? Well, it's really simple. Instead of trying to read a whole line or a whole paragraph and memorize it, what you want to do is just read one line. So you're going to take your whole script and break it up into about 7 to 10 words and separate all the lines, then print it out. You're going to read one line, you're going to look at your script, and you're going to look up and say it. And you're going to look down, you're going to look up and say it. You keep the camera rolling, and here's the cool thing. Nobody is going to know the difference because when you edit it and cut out all those gaps it looks exactly the same as everybody else who's doing this, because that's what all the top influencers are doing. They're not memorizing lines. They're not using teleprompters in most cases. What they're doing is they're looking down, reading one line, looking up, repeating one line. And it's called the Goldfish method because you don't need a memory longer than a goldfish in order to nail this. So that brings us to number 4, which is actually closely related. I call this the one line, one cut method. So these two, they're closely related. In the Goldfish method, what we did is we took the whole script and we broke it up into short lines so you could read one line and then repeat it. Now with one line, one cut, we're gonna take it a step further. With each line, we're actually gonna change positions. So I might say opening line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, and this is kind of a silly representation, but you get the idea. Each line, you do a cut. You move the camera, on one of them you're gonna walk, another one you're gonna, talk, and to the mirror, doing a selfie and things like that. If you want the full training, I've got a link somewhere. Go grab that. It's really fun. Let's move on to the next thing, but I think you get the idea. Number 5 is doing something called shooting, edit, ready. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to video files and file management, it is such a headache to have files everywhere. So what you wanna do is you wanna grab your camera app, and the thing is, this is sneaky. A lot of people don't know this, but when I hit record, then a new button appears. It's right there. That says pause. So I'm gonna say my first line, line number 1, pause. I look down, look at my next line, I go line number 2, and then record again. And this is a hack that most people don't know, but what you wanna do is use the Goldfish method to break up your lines, use the one line, one cut method to shoot between all the stuff, and use the edit ready shooting method so that all your files, all the takes are in one file, and it's already kind of pre-edited. Now, you still want an editor to actually go through this and get it done properly, but that one thing is gonna make sure that mistakes are not made along the way about what order things go in and what files go with what video. Now, point number 6 is gonna be difficult, especially if you have high standards. And as a coach, you should have high standards. So it's natural that it's gonna be difficult, but to truly hand something off is the most important part of achieving doing only what only you can do. You have to trust somebody to be able to write the captions, to generate the thumbnail, to post it on social media, and to make sure that it's happening correctly. Now, here's the thing. The first person you hire to do this is probably gonna mess things up. It's not gonna look the way you want it to look. But if you work with them to get it to where you want, then you'll get out of this vicious cycle. So you got the choice of either continuing the way you have been up until now and getting similar results, or actually making the leap to go pro with your content, and professionals always get help. All professionals have help. So there's one warning here. Do not fake delegate. Fake delegation is when you hand something off, but then hover over every tiny decision until the task ends up back on your own plate. Real delegation means clear instructions, clear examples, clear deadlines, clear standards, and most of all, trust. If you delegate the task but keep all the anxiety, you've not really delegated. You've just added like the management stress on yourself on top of everything else you're doing. So here's the short form workflow in a nutshell. I first start with the 3 C's. I ask myself, what's the cache, what's the contacts, and what's the calendar events that give me the unique perspective so I can say what only I can say. And that's what's important. Then we move to the 6 P's. Once I get the 3 C's done, then I go to the 6 P's. This is gonna be taking those unique stories and turning it into 1 week of perfect content. If you haven't watched my perfect week content training yet, go watch that. I'll give you the cliff notes here. It's your unique philosophy, the person, what's the story about a specific person, what's the proof you have, what's the plan to get people there, what's the problem you're facing, and what are the unique pain points. If you can address all 6 of these things within a week, you've got a perfect week of content. Once you get that down, you have to actually get your phone out and use everything that's in today's video, production. This is everything about taking what you planned with this 3 C's and turning it into actual video recorded on your camera or your phone. And lastly, the most important thing you can do after this is handoff. You gotta find, train, and build a team that's gonna be able to do everything except for what only you can do, which is in that production. Using this system is going to be how you can realistically get your production flow to 30 to 60 minutes a week if you're doing short form content. But let me be clear. This doesn't mean that you are gonna personally do all of the research, the scripting, the shooting, the editing, the captions, the posts, and everything. Doing everything on that laundry list is not a system. That's just a pipe dream. What this means is that you're gonna spend 30 to 60 minutes doing the parts of this that actually requires you. doing only what only you can do. The goal is not to become better at every part of the content. The goal is to build the system where your best ideas get published without dragging your entire week into production hell. So if you only remember one thing from this video, it's do only what only you can do. What is that? That's ideating, thinking, making judgment calls on what's worth actually creating content and talking about. It's telling the stories that actually happen to you, to your clients, to your parents, to the younger version of yourself. That is the high level stuff that only you can do. In addition to that, the other things you got to think about is actually recording the content, teaching your best material, and then approving the stuff once the team brings it back to you. And then you let the machine do the rest. So everything I just shared today is just one part of the video marketing machine system. This is a coaching program that I have paid clients and I help them to actually build all this stuff out. You can take everything you learned here and implement it, or you can work with us to help you implement it and get some accountability. So if you want to see the full system for turning content into clients, then watch the full training that's linked down below. In this video, we covered the production on how to stop getting buried in the busy work, but the full machine also includes what happens after the content is posted, how to attract the right people, how to run simple ad systems, how to get a VSL that actually converts, how to use lead magnets, how to follow up automatically. These are an iterative process and you get there a lot faster if you get direct feedback on your actual work. So go ahead and watch the full training and it's going to cover all those details of what's inside. Now, everything I shared today is about simplifying the production process so you don't get stuck in production hell, spending as little time and effort as possible and making sure you actually produce the content like what I'm doing right now. But even after you get all that done, there's still one thing that can completely sabotage this. And the sad thing is I've seen a lot of coaches do this. It's you don't post the content. You feel like it's not good enough. You feel like you're not pretty enough or beautiful or muscular enough, or you don't speak smoothly enough. And all these things have actually gone through my head. And that's why I have a feeling it might be going through your head. So if you ever hesitate to post your content or to really push it out there or promote it because you don't think it's good enough yet, I want you to watch the next video where I'm going to cover that. And the title of the next video is Posted Ugly. I'll see you next week.